Reverend Michelle Hubbard is a law school graduate with a Juris Doctorate degree. She's a certified transformation specialist and certified therapeutic art coach. She has been accepted to Unity Urban Ministerial School and is in the process of applying to Unity Worldwide Ministries. Her business is Scared and Sacred, a safe space for showing up even when you feel scared. You'll find her online at myonlinechapel.com, where you can learn more about her ministry, her classes, and her events. A teacher, speaker, author, speaking on resurrection and faith, please help me welcome to the platform, Reverend Michelle Hubbard.
Thank you, Christine. Welcome, everyone, including our Facebook audience. Thank you for joining us via live stream, the magic of the internet. Happy Easter, happy Passover. What a very special time we're celebrating today. And I'm so honored to be able to speak to you with it. Unity looks at the Bible from a metaphysical perspective, meaning beyond the literal words, and then applies it to our daily life. And it looks at Jesus as a master teacher. And as a master teacher, Jesus came from the perspective of choosing his words very carefully as a means of educating and inspiring us. So what I want to share with you today are some words from Jesus during his journey to resurrection. And the words that were important actually began before Holy Week even. So I'm going to be speaking about faith in resurrection, faith throughout a journey that may at times have some surprises, if nothing else, in store for us. We may think that, I don't really like facing the unknown. I kind of wish I knew what was coming, then I could have faith. Well, that's not really faith, is it? But let's take another look. Suppose you did know what was coming. Well, Jesus spoke openly about what was going to happen to him, crucifixion and then resurrection. He said, "The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again." Well, if I knew that was what was coming for me, I think it would be even harder to have faith than if I didn't know. And so we have an opportunity here to be in faith even when we can see people aren't reacting to us the way that we would like them to. Even when a circumstance happens that is so dire, is such a big change that it feels like our life is being taken from us and we are not who and what we used to be. And even when we're still going to keep going and some sort of new version of us is going to continue. That's a lesson in faith. Another lesson from Jesus was in forgiveness. We all know the torture that Jesus went through before he died. He was not only shunned, which in some ways is more painful even than physical torture, but he was whipped, he was beaten, he was dying of thirst and given vinegar to drink. And yet he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Wow, that's a pretty powerful lesson in forgiveness. And in the media, we have all sorts of instances of unforgivable behavior going on that is broadcast and bashing our mind and perception on a constant basis. And one of the lessons in Jesus' statement is that even if in our human form we find it rather hard to forgive that, we can ask the Father, we can ask the Creator, we can ask the power that we are one with to forgive it. And when we do that, we're acting in the faith that that will happen, and we're also acting in the faith that we will feel the release that comes when we do forgive someone. The next lesson comes in discouragement. As Jesus was on the cross, can't you imagine he felt rather discouraged? This is what's happening to me, and I've spent my life teaching that we are one with the beautiful power of love, and this is how I'm being treated? Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? And you can add all sorts of tones of voices to that, imagining what Jesus was really thinking. Jesus said, my God. He didn't say Father. That's an indication that he was feeling pretty discouraged. In fact, this change in his relationship to how he was seeing God, and he, at least in that moment, caused a darkness to cover the sky and a silence that covered the earth for 3 hours. That's how powerful the one connection was, to have had that sort of an impact on the environment around him. But how does this show faith? It shows faith in that he asked a question. He asked, why have you forsaken me? And when you ask a question, it's different than saying, I'm furious with you, what the heck with you, I'm not going to stay here anymore, I give up, we're done. It's a different type of energy when you ask a question. You're saying that you're open to discovery. You're saying that you're open to receiving an answer. You're saying that you have faith that you're going to receive an answer. And I'm going to share with you how we know that Jesus did get an answer. Not only did he get the answer that he wanted, but he got an answer that he ended up sharing with us. And that came through faith in death. So as Jesus knew he was dying, with one of his final breaths, he said, it is finished. He didn't say, I am finished. He didn't say, I'm done. This is the end of me and my journey. Phew, that feels good. He said, it is finished. Maybe meaning this process is over with, but I know I'm going to go on. That's a big statement in faith. Or maybe he meant this way of living, where we see God as being so separate from us that we have to kill animals to appease him and be in connection with him and get favor from him, that's what's finished. And aren't we sometimes in circumstances where it's just been enough of the pain, and then we say, okay, it's done. I'm done with this. And you don't exactly know what's going to be coming next, but at this point, maybe you've hit such a low bottom that it's got to be better, if nothing else different, and in this circumstance, even different is better. Sometimes we have that sort of a moment, and this is what Jesus is speaking to here, saying, it is finished. I am not, and this is where he got that answer to his question, I have not been forsaken, and something better is coming, and I will not be alone in it. And with his final breaths, he bows his head and says, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Well, we see he's once again in relationship with his Father. He's once again claiming the oneness that comes from the direct line to the creator of all that is. And that right there is an act of faith. And then he says, into your hands I commit my spirit. Kind of sounds like separation, doesn't it? Or it sounds like Jesus choosing to say, I give this to you now, Father, because what you told me in response to my question, why have you forsaken me, gave me so much peace, so much assurance, so much faith in what's coming next, that I'm willing to hand over to you my spirit. And so after all Jesus went through, hanging there on the cross, finally being put down, I would imagine death was a bit of a relief. I can imagine it feeling quite peaceful in comparison to what life had been. I think I might want to just stay there. You know, I've kind of had it with this thing of life amongst these people sorts of beings. I don't know that I want to do it again. And yet, he chose to come back to us. He came to come back. And when he did, his first words were, "Peace be with you." He said this to his disciples, who by that time had betrayed him, had disappointed him, had been less than maybe he had hoped for in disciples. He gave it to them, but he also gave it to us. This peace that came to him after this horrific and tortured journey he'd made, he said, "Peace be with you." And so he had faith as he said this, in knowing, first of all, that this was a quality that was real and true and could be continued. And he had faith that we would do it to the best of our ability. I don't think he judges us for how things may have turned out in the peace department. We're going to be moving forward now in our Easter celebrations and in our week. We're going to be bombarded by news that has wars and has illness and has very dire circumstances constantly being the message, because this is what gets the ratings. But remember that we were designed to live by faith, not by what we see. And what that means is we were designed to live by faith, by putting God first, rather than putting this physical world that we live in first, what we see, what we hear, what our bellies may be telling us we should be eating first. And so, as you move forward, remember that you are designed to live in faith, even when the unforgivable happens, even when your form of living as you in the world changes so drastically that it feels as if you die. And even when you have a peace so great that it comforts you and you want to feel stay there, stuck there. Have faith. That's what we were designed to live in, that better is coming next, better can come next, and that we can be that better. I wish everyone a happy day of celebration of rising and resurrection.